Then we go to old business policy 4:60, purchases and contracts.
So I was ill on October 8th when we had the last board meeting, and the board engaged in deep conversation. I believe it was over 29 minutes on this topic, and I know that because I watched a clip on the web page. And I would encourage the board for professional development if you have some. But we're getting good work done. So let's start with the easier one, 490.
Okay, 490.
There was a question about me just referring to Todd. I think it was more or less just that it should be shall in the first part. The second part, where you see the red change in your board book, class funds remaining inactive for 12 consecutive months after graduation shall be transferred to the general activity fund. There is a general activity fund. It's just called activity fund. It's Fund 6615. The reason we had that there is it is common, like right now we know class of 13 did not do their project because they started too late and they wanted to do the outside classroom, so they're supposed to be joining up with class of 14. So we do sometimes have classes that will be doing a joint project or are late on their gift to the school. So this is something that we just need to monitor a little closely. In regards to the bottom section, the minor change down there about inactive funds shall be closed. The original recommendation was can be closed. Todd confirmed it should be shall be closed. It is in the administrative code that way. The concern that the board, the administration had is that because we've been working on this since I arrived 3 years ago, we did cut so many activities that all have funds and have money in those funds, and there is a hope that the principal has that some of these will be brought back. So what Tim and I don't want to start doing is, okay, well, we want to follow the code, so we're going to go and we're going to close out all these dollars and put them in this general activity fund, and then we're going to tell Pastorella, hey, but don't spend this, a couple $1,000s because we might bring some of these. We don't want to start, moving that money and then telling people they can't spend it or not to spend it, or once it's spent, and then we reestablish a club, and then is somebody going to say, well, hey, we had $1,500 in there that we fundraised for 3 years ago and we don't have it. So this is just one of those, okay, we're following the code, we got the policy, how do you guys want us to proceed? Because there will be some groups that will be upset of, that have some money in their balances that we haven't run in 2 years, that are holding out hope that maybe we'll bring them back, or as we continue to push engagement, that we might have to tell them they lost their money because it's been inactive for 12 months, or it's really been longer than 12 months, but.
Well, unfortunately, it's the law in Illinois. It's like, you gotta pay your taxes, we'd rather not do that. I don't think it's a wise rule, but it's a rule we have to follow. So, as we said, we don't have a choice. Now, if you want to, you follow the rule by putting the general activity fund, assuming that has activity in the 12 months. If you want to keep records that are off book to say, we transferred $1,000 from the ski club into the general fund, and if the ski club resurrects and you want to charge $1,000 back, I don't think it violates the rule. You're going to do it, but unfortunately, you still have to transfer it there in order to comply with the state law.
Anybody else want to discuss on this?
Yeah, I want to make sure that this point's clear when you're looking at it. This is where this title is this activity fund, and the sentence that talks about inter-fund loans clearly, in my mind, can only be applied to activity funds. So, it's not addressing whether you have money in the education fund, and it needs to be in the activity fund, in my mind. And that's right out of the rule, too, out of the state code.
So what your interpretation is the one that you need to approve interfund loans exceeding $5,000, is that one from the ed fund to an activity account?
No, it's between the general fund and the whatever Rouser fund that has a credit balance.
Right, but we didn't pay out of the general fund, right, Tim? Or is that where we put the money in the general fund? Or do we pay it out of the ed fund to cover the Rouser for now?
No, it's being paid out of that activity fund. It's just, the overall balance of all the funds is obviously positive, so.
It's being paid out of the Rouser fund, it's building a negative balance.
Correct.
But the monies is coming from the activity fund.
Yeah, that's just.
From the overall,
Right.
all the activity funds,
I don't agree
cumulative
with the
balance.
rule. I'm just saying that's what the law says. I think we have a duty to follow the law.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Any other questions on this?
I'll check with Todd just to make sure we're doing it right, or if we need to have that approved by the board, we'll make sure we do it.
And we'll vote on this at the next board meeting, right?
This is a special meeting, so 490, if the board wanted to, could pass it tonight. There's really not any significant changes on 490 besides what's listed here.
What's the board's discretion? Do you want to wait
So
till?
if I read this right, the loan doesn't, unless we have the wrong wording in the policy, it doesn't say we need to approve the loan, it just says we need to be notified.
Right.
Right.
So if we get the statement, that's notification.
That-
So if we get the, if you continue presenting us the activity scenario, right? And we see a negative balance in there, in essence, you've notified us that there's a negative,
That's
that's,
a good point.
so that's it,
All right.
Yes.
okay? So we don't have to do it anymore.
All right, so do we want to vote on this tonight, or do we want to wait till the board meeting?
I say we vote on it.
We can vote on it.
All right, then give me a motion on it.
What about the other one?
Well, let's do this one first, then
Well,
we'll go next.
let's talk about 460.
Well, maybe we should just vote on this one. It's clean and it's off the table.
All right, let's
Here
do
we
that.
go.
So you want a clean motion on the table?
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School District 208, Cook County, Illinois hereby approves policy 4.90 as presented in the October 22, 2013 Board Agenda Packet.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Welch. Any other discussion? Mary Ann?
Mr. Gritchen? Sorry.
Yes.
Ms. Ruska?
Yes.
Mr. Jepson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Welch?
Yes.
Mr. Singleton?
Yes.